Becky.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Simone. Lovely to see you. Hi. I recognise some people, which is really lovely just to have that support. But hi to everybody who's not met me before. So my name's Becky. My business is Westfield Coaching. It's just me. It sounds very grand, but it is just me. And the difference between a coach and a counsellor is that I look moving forward, help people move forward, and a counsellor would look back and kind of like figure out what it is and why we are the way that we are. As a coach, I look from where you are today, right now, to where you want to be and where and how we can get there. So traditionally, when you think about coaching, you probably think about a football coach or a tennis coach or somebody who shows you what to do. As a coach and a mentor, I can do either. So I can lead you as a mentor, or we can walk together as a coach. And I think that's just a beautiful way of explaining what I do, is help people to grow, basically. So we talk about the grow model within the coaching practices that I do. I always go back to this one. I say it's a very old model, but it's actually one that's really, really simple and can be used in any aspect. And if I think about, I've got 18 years teaching experience in further education, and I think, do you know what? I did this anyway before I actually retrained as a coach. And many of you will probably look at this and think, do you know what? This is what I do all the time, whether it be with your children, your grandchildren, whether it be with your friends, whether it be with people you sit at the, in the beer garden with, and you say, what is it you want to do? So let me just show you the grow model as it is. So she says, hoping I've got the right thing. Okay. So if you got sent the grow model, this is the worksheet that we're going to work through. So this is no different to what I would do if I was face-to-face on a one-to-one setting with you, or whether we did it as a group. So I've done this in every single coaching session that I do, in every preliminary setting for coaching, because I need to know, or you need to know, where you want to go to. So your goal, so that's the G in the grow model, is, it can be a goal, it can be a personal goal, it can be a business goal. It might be something you're thinking about, maybe not just for this week, it might be just for today. Quite often when people have struggled with mental health, a lot of the time their goal may just be to get through to the end of the day, and we have to think about that everybody's different. Everybody's experience is very different, and their goals will be very different as well. So I've put, what is your goal for February? I knew there was going to be something there. I'm going to change that to March. Okay. So if you're in business, or even if you are somebody who thinks about their year annually or monthly, it's always great to have something to aim for. So if you were to think, if any of you have got a goal that you think, do you know what, this is what I want to achieve, either this week, this month, or this year, would one of you like to share it with me? You don't have to, but if there's anybody who thinks, do you know what, I'd like to work through this.
I'll share one, Becky.
Brilliant, thank you. I'm just coming back to who is it.
Oh, it's Kimmy.
Oh, hiya, Kimmy. Talk to me, my lovely. What's your goal? Is it for this month, this week, or this year?
This year.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd like to establish more of a routine in my business, and then eventually I want to get it so like clockwork that I can have one day off a week, instead of working like every day. I just like a set routine. So I think over the next year, that's one of my goals.
Okay, brilliant. So that's your goal, is to get a set routine within your business, but also obviously within, this is something we can start today. That's the wonderful thing about it, Okay, so tell me about, so that's the goal. It can be as broad as that.
Yeah.
No, but actually what you're saying to me is, you know what, I want to set a routine. I want, but then I would say, okay, let's look at the reality where you are today, Kimberly. Mm-hmm. This is probably the easiest way to do it and show you how it works. So what is your reality? What are you doing at the moment, Kimmy?
As and when I can. and more like at night. So I'd like to like establish more of like a daytime routine where I do like my admin on one day and then my packing on another, and then, you know, have like more like set times really. So that would be great.
Okay, so this is where I start asking you some questions. And you're probably going to go, oh no, I don't want this.
It's fine.
So in order for me to get, or if you're talking this through with somebody else, in order for us to get the reality behind this, Kimmy, it's kind of like, what are you doing now? So you're saying to me, at the moment, you're doing it as and when.
Yeah.
So there's no set pattern, there's no set routine at the moment.
No.
So you say, so if I were to say to you, what are the elements to your business that you need to put into some form of timetable, what would those elements be?
So I need like a day to pack my boxes, a day for like the social media, and a day for like the admin side of it really, and then working on my new projects and my speaking.
Yeah. Okay. So out of those, you've said day to pack your boxes, which is the definite, you need to do that. Day for your social media, a day for your admin, and then your new projects that are up and coming, that these opportunities for you to come and speak at different events or whatever it is that's your future plans.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, so you say you fit it in as and when.
Yeah.
So what are you working around in that case? So what are you working around?
The children, but they've gone back to school today, and there was women running out of the gate like, hooray! That's the grandma, and it was like she just like, you know, like the war had ended. She's running home for a cup of tea. It's brilliant.
Okay, so the children's are back at school.
Yeah.
So this is hopefully going to be the new normal. They're going to go back to school, and your table is going to be your own.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to say to you, Kimmy, realistically, how would you plan it? If I waved a magic wand, so great solution focused question. If I waved a magic wand,
mm-hmm.
what would be your ideal moving forward?
To kind of have a day for each focus, really.
Okay. And is that, and do you know how that would look? What day would be for which?
No, I don't mind, as long as it all gets done. I don't mind.
Okay. So if you were to, so what's stopping you at the moment planning a timetable for your week, allowing for how many days off do you want?
Just one would be great. One would be lovely. Let's start there. So
okay, so
Sunday would be great. Let's go for a Sunday.
Fantastic. So Sundays are off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it starts today.
Oh, that's exciting. Apart from, I think I am working on Sunday, so maybe that's not the best one to go for. Maybe a Saturday. Let's say a Saturday. But yeah, so one day a week would be lovely. So yes, I will definitely start making a little timetable for myself. That'd be good.
Okay, so do you work well to structure and timetabling? That's another thing.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think I do. I'll pat myself on the back. I think so.
Okay, so I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to the main group as well. So when we discuss the reality, it's always good to ask the questions about where you are, what is affecting you from achieving that goal at this moment in time. Mm-hmm. So for example, I know that you do a lot of events in an evening, so it might be that the children were problematic because they were at home, and a lot of women have struggled with that, and they've had to timetable everything around. Mm-hmm. So then when you think about what is it that's stopping you, and then quite often, if it's something personal that they really want to do, quite often there's a fear attached to what is stopping them. And that's where, by asking about the current reality, and actually women, how often do we talk about how we're feeling about something, you know, quite openly, to say, do you know what, I feel quite frightened about this, to be honest. You know, you don't go somewhere and go, how are you? And everyone goes, yeah, I'm fine. You know, really, when really they're struggling with something. So something like a beautiful coaching environment like this, or a safe women's only event, or however you can actually up about these fears as well.
Mm-hmm.
So then we're going to move on, Kimmy, to the option side of this. Okay. So what options, and I always encourage people to choose 10 alternatives. So if I was to say to you then, Kimmy, what are the alternatives moving forward? So today you've said, you know what, I'm going to have one day and it's going to be Saturday, or it's going to be Sunday. Then you go, well, actually, I've got some events on a Sunday, so it won't be a Sunday. I'm going to choose a Saturday. So it could be that you do choose that Sunday, but actually on those occasions when the Sundays are busy, you choose the Saturday, or would it work to have one?
Yeah, to be flexible. That's lovely.
Yeah. So give me some options. In fact, everybody, let me stop sharing at the moment so I can see you all. So give me some more options of what Kimmy can do as a group in order for her to try and get kind of like some structure. Come on, don't be shy.
And I won't be offended at all. So go for your life.
Okay, Pam?
Yeah, I think mapping out, first of all, your non-negotiables in terms of what your family can and can't do. Getting kids to school and actually mapping that out so that you can't touch those. Any appointments, family things, book those out so you can see. Google Calendar is great for doing this. Just literally having all that mapped out so you can't touch those and they can't be moved. Non-negotiables. And then from that, well, this is what I do. Is from that is then. Well, I did do, but I've been on furlough for nearly 12 months, so I'm going to need to restart it. This is good practice. Is then think about, for me, I do a lot of project work. So blocking out 2 hours on a Tuesday morning after my Zoom with my manager, that is project work. I might not know what that will be, but that's project work. On a Monday morning, I update where I'm up to because I'm running a lot of funding bids. Monday morning, I have a half an hour slot. That's my funding bid time. So and then on a Friday, I have a reflection. What have I achieved this week? Be realistic. So just little blocks, just what works for you. That works for me anyway, because it helps you to focus and don't try and multitask. People, ladies, we cannot do it. You are actually less productive. Do one thing, do it well, finish it, move on to the next. And I am the world's worst at it, but it is actually more effective doing it that way.
Lovely.
Brilliant. And how does that sound to tie in, Kimmy, for your bullet business journaling? How does that
that sounds
that
like
linking?
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely something I could implement, but it's just somebody chatting through, so it's lovely chatting to you, Becky.
Yeah, no, it's great, honestly, and it's easier to describe how we do it by working through. So anybody else got options? Claire, you've unmuted yourself, so I'm going to come to you, my love.
Yeah, I was just going to say, making your goals realistic, but dedicating the time to them, really, like Pam was saying. Pam spoke before me, then I totally agree. Set that time aside and know that is that dedicated time. And if you haven't managed to do it for whatever reason, because things do get in way in our life, make sure you move that block of dedicated time. Don't just ignore that. I would say, a really important thing.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Claire. Anybody else? We've got 3 suggestions so far. We've got non-negotiable. Keep the non-negotiables in there. So I'm really sad. Forever a teacher, I have to admit.
Oh, love it.
I'm really sad, and I've been doing that all year through lockdown. So time blocking, which is a fantastic option as well. I've written your list on the back here, Kimmy. So we've got non-negotiable, time blocking, brilliant example from Claire. Make the goal realistic and dedicate time. And if you can't do it on that particular day, shift it over to a different day. Anybody else? That's 3 options. We need 7 more. I'm waiting for the mute button to come off.
I'm a big believer in reflecting, making sure you dedicate some time to reflect on what you're doing, because it might, you can't say what you set out to do in week 1 is always going to be what you do every single week. So, spend the time at the end of week 1 reflecting on what you'd planned and see whether that's working for you. And if it isn't, do something about it, and move it. It's nothing worse than going into a week thinking, I've set these goals and I can't do them.
Yeah.
And I know I can't do them. And you're going into it with I say negative, I don't mean a negative mindset, but an unrealistic mindset, which I truly believe then affects your own well-being and mental health.
Totally.
So I would try and turn it round a little bit. What do I want to get out of it, and how am I going to get the best from it? The other thing is, for me, it's, you might have the responsibility for doing something, but could you make somebody else accountable so that you then feel that you have got to go and tell somebody else? So, a mentor, I can sell Becky Field to you at a good price.
Thank you.
A mentor, part of what I've been doing with Simone is actually mentorship with different community groups and social enterprises and small businesses. And I know the person that I was a mentor for found it really useful to be able to have me accountable to just drop a text, drop an email, or for them to come to me and say, I've done it. I've done it. And sort of seeing you, if you like, the chimp on the shoulder that's there really to support you, but that you're then accountable to. If not, it doesn't really matter. You're only letting yourself down, aren't you? Which is what happens.
And it's, it's so true that, and thanks, Claire. And I know Simone's a fantastic mentor as well. But when you gather people around you, those cheerleaders who are part of your journey with you, makes a huge difference. So another thing I was going to suggest as well is, do timed, although it's time blocking, actually time yourself to do things, because quite often, how often are we distracted from social media or interrupted by things? Like Pam says, keep that one task focused and then set yourself a time. So quite often, if I'm writing something or a blog post, not that I do that much, but actually having a timed approach to it, to think, right, okay, these are the things I have to do. I need to pack my boxes. I need to get everything in there. I'm actually going to do that within the next 2 hours. Because what will happen is you'll find that you've actually got loads of time during the day, especially now the kids are back at school. Anybody else got anything? So we've got 5 suggestions so far. I'm not going to let you off the hook until we've got 10.
I've got one.
Okay, brilliant.
I'd say staying away from negative people. Sometimes I think, and it's not intentional, that some people can be a bit sappy to your plans and your aspirations, and that can really draw on your energy.
Brilliant suggestion, Jilly. Definitely. The difference of having these people around you who are going to uplift you, but also part of my personal development course, we talk about those challengers, those people who are going to challenge you, a little bit like this. When I say, right, I'm not going to let you off the hook until you've got 10, it might seem kind of forceful, that, but the truth of it is, I want the very best for anybody I work with, and I know that there's 10 alternatives, so I will question you until we get 10, because we quite often think this is all we can do, but actually when we start expanding the options, which is the O to the grow model, we think, oh my word, there is so much more that I can do. And it just doesn't matter whether it's business or personal. When you're feeling stuck in a situation and you think, what else can I do? There must be some other way of doing this. But by talking to these people who lift you up, like Jilly says, rather than those that, the energy vampires, as we call them, then you're actually going to open up more possibilities. Brilliant. So we've got 6. Any more? We've got 4
I've got
more.
one for you, Becky.
Brilliant. Thanks, Simone.
always think it's good. It's those of you who work with me will know about my to-do lists. So I think it's that thing of, yes, we have lots of to-dos, but I'd really like to see at the end of the day the to-dos. So what did I get done? Because I think that is also about motivating you for the next day to think, yes, I might not have got 100% of this done, but if I've got 80% done and there's loads of stuff on that list, I'm going to start tomorrow feeling a lot more focused and motivated. So definitely a to-do list.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic. So that's number 7. Pam's put something in the chat, which I think is great. For boring admin tasks, let's face it, regardless of whether we're in business or not, give me an Excel spreadsheet, I'm lost already before I've even opened it. So, but for boring tasks, she said, set up a Spotify checklist and have fun. Now, I remember, Kimmy, coming to your one of your self-care events in Aqua Nurture, and you were talking about, what's those favourite songs, and you were sat beside me writing them all down, and sometimes, quite often, if you've got a playlist that is really enthusiastic, that really gets you going, and that'll see you straight through those Excel spreadsheets any day.
That's it,
or the receipts and all of that lot. Fantastic. Sam, my darling, lovely to see you.
Hello. Yeah, I've been racking my brains and remembered about delegating. Is there anything that is that task that you just will never get round to because it's not your skill set, it's not your preference, and it's something that's kind of saved me just getting out of that headspace of actually you don't have to do all of these things yourself, and you can find some help with delegating.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's a great one.
Yeah, perfect. And I've met your mum and she's more than happy to help you, I'm sure.
She is a happy.
Fabulous. Lydia, did you have something to say?
Yes. I was going to say focus. I think you already just mentioned it before about focusing. Like I had a session at work last week where they said, if you've want to do a task, don't log into your emails first. Get your Outlook calendar first. Don't look at your emails. Get your task done, and then just check your emails. You get distracted as soon as you open your emails. You get dealing with them. So unless you set aside like half an hour at the start of each session to like 30 minutes, flick through emails, if there's anything urgent, deal with it, and then block them out, switch off the alerts, silence your phone so it doesn't distract you every time you get a ping. Focus on what you're going to do in that session, and then check your emails again maybe at the end, but just don't let yourself be interrupted all the time because you just don't get anything done. You just
that's a massive one for me, Lydia. I think turning those emails off, because you just become a slave to your emails. All I spend all day doing.
That's a great suggestion. And I think it's really, there's a book, isn't there, called Eat That Frog, and that's, and it talks about eating those frogs. If you had to eat a frog every day for the rest of your life, you would eat the frog first, wouldn't you? And it's things like those, counting those receipts, sticking things in, where they need to go. And like you say, just even that book actually talks about the fact that, yes, focus on one task at a time. So that's amazing. We've only got one more to find, ladies. What can we come up with for number 10?
I know I always like to treat myself when I've done like anything remotely good. I'm like, I deserve a treat. Like anything like that I've done, I'm just like, wow, well done. And I treat myself very easily.
Love it.
So that's
Love it.
So sometimes I go and do my emails in the bath because that's a proper treat.
Be a proper treat if you left your phone outside.
This is true. Maybe I need to start like separating a little bit. I'm just like, I'm going to have my treat now while I'm doing this.
Absolutely. And what was I going to say? So I was just going to ask this question, and I mean it sincerely. How many people treat themselves to go into the toilet when they've done a task? Right? Pam's laughing. I can see you. It's like, I won't go to the toilet or I won't get a cup of coffee until I've done this task. I mean, that I would rather have a nice bath and some relaxing oils or something, but it's kind of like treating ourselves to nice things, so it's like I love walking, but I love walking when there's a coffee shop and a brownie at the end of it. I will walk anywhere for a nice brownie. So fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do then, I'm just going to bring you back to the handout, she says. There we go. So, Kimmy, we've got 10 alternatives, 10 options. We've got the non-negotiables, put them on your calendar first, or your timetable. We've got time blocking for those things that you definitely need to do. So your boxes, your social media, your admin, and your new projects.
Yeah.
Find realistic goals and dedicate time to them, like Claire Cliff said, which is brilliant. Reflect on what you are doing and where does it need to go and how far you've come. She also mentioned getting a mentor or a coach. You've got, between us here, if Claire's mentoring as well, you've got 3 that I know of. There may be more. Stay away from negative people, which Jilly said, fantastic. Don't let anyone zap your energy. I'm a firm believer, if you ever get to know me and join my Westfield Black Belts, I walk away from people who sap my energy or my well-being. Get a to-do list, so even if you get 80% of the tasks done, some can follow over. We've got delegating from Sam, delegating some of the work to somebody else, which you know, getting rid of my bookkeeping this year has just been amazing. I felt light. We've got brilliant one is to leave all your notifications off, focus on the task at hand, and then check your emails later on from Lydia. Fantastic. And then treat yourself. Kimmy, one of yours already.
Oh, I'm good at that. I'm really good at treating myself, so I'm super on board with that.
Good. So then the way forward, or the what will you do, is what are you willing to commit to? So in order for you to move from saying, do you know what, I need to really timetable my time, I need to kind of like come up with a plan, you've got to commit to something. What's the point in going, oh yeah, I could do that, and nothing changes? So there's that saying, used to be a Slimming World consultant, nothing changes if nothing changes. You know, likewise with a coach, unless we choose to move forward or choose to put some action in as a solution focused coach, we're not going to change. So we've only got a few people here that you're accountable to, Kimmy.
That's all right.
Right. So what are you willing to commit to?
I will make a plan this week about my schedule, because I love a bit of journaling and an excuse for a pen and a nice pad. So I will make a plan this week and I will tag you in it on social media.
Brilliant.
And then I will know. And then if I don't do it, I know you're like the boundary queen and you'll be like, come on, there we go. Yeah, I will make a plan this week, make a plan timetable, and I'll do the time blocking.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Brilliant. And I'm just going to ask you one last question, because quite often we forget and we don't think it's possible. But if I was to say to you, Kimmy, if by the end of this week you've got a plan moving forward and you can fit everything in within your business enough for it to not only survive but to grow, how will you feel by the end of this week?
Powerful.
Fab. And what will you see if you get to the end of the week? What will you see as a difference to you?
Probably progress. I think I would say progress. Yeah, being more organized, feeling more powerful, and feeling like exactly like you say, like the business can grow and I can grow as well. So it's perfectly fits in. I've never heard of this model before, so thank you.
Have you not? Oh, you're very welcome.
Oh, that was wonderful. Yeah, really, really good.
And if I was to say to you, finally, what would it feel like to have one day off this week?
Oh, blissful. Definitely. In the heartbeat, yep.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm just going to stop sharing now. So thank you for doing that for me, Kimmy. I think, it can be quite daunting when you don't know what coaching is, but also how easy is that conversation. It was kind of like a wonderful conversation, and thank you for everybody giving me your suggestions. Have you got any questions at all? Is there anybody who would be willing to do it with me now, to do the next one, if you wanted to do one? Everyone's like, oh no. No? So if we were thinking about an area of our life. Let me show you something else then, if it's okay, Simone, so I can just bring in another model. Is that all right?
Absolutely. And I was just going to say, I'll send out that handout to people who have attended via email.
Perfect. So if we're going to carry on, let me just find something for you and we'll do one more exercise. Browse 1 second. Okay. I know if you are a Westfield warrior with me, you will have seen this, but I'm just going to go through it if that's okay. Now, I'm going to come and pick on you again, Kimmy.
I don't mind. No problem.
But if anybody else wants to do this, so if you think of your life, so this is the wheel of life. This again is a common tool, but it is something that is absolutely valuable. Okay. So as women, one of the most resounding things that I hear from women when I'm coaching them is they don't make time for themselves, which is why, you know, it's wonderful to have Kimmy with us, because she tells us or shows us how an hour of time can make all the difference to your week. Okay. So as women, we are very, very busy. You know, even if you don't work, you're still very, very busy because you're running a home, you're bringing up children, you might be a grandma bringing up your grandchildren, you know, so there is always something for us to do. We're not idle. So if we were to think about our whole life as a entirety, get my words all mixed up. So we could either look at this as a business way, or we could look at this as a personal way. So if for example, Kimmy, you've got, I'm only coming to you because I know you do like to chat. It's always good. It's always good to have an example.
Definitely.
So if we're looking at our lives in total, so Kimmy, you've got your business and your work will only be one section. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And then you will have your children.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. So if you were to break up your whole life into 8 sections, and I would encourage everybody to do this, if you have got a piece of pen and paper, then I want you to draw a circle and break it into 8 sections. Let's see if I can see you better. Okay. Oh. Bye-bye, Claire. Lovely to see you. Okay, so you break it into 8 sections. If you've done any coaching before, you may have already done this. So if you say, I don't know, has anyone done this before, just before I start? Yeah, so Pam's done it before. I'm lucky enough to work with Pam. She's amazing, just in case you didn't know her. Okay, so Kimmy, have you chosen your 8 sections?
I've drawn my circle.
You've drawn your circle.
I can think of 8. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so when you've got 8, so if you were to score, so this is a brilliant one. We'll all recognise this. It's called scaling. So this is another tool. So I'm going to show you 3 tools in one hour. That's amazing. By the way. So if you were to see, when you go to the doctors, like I've been to the doctors today, and they say on a scale of 0 to 10, where's the pain? Okay. So this is what scaling is. So if you were to say 0 being the worst it could possibly be, that's the center of that circle, and 10 being the best it could possibly be. So for example, Kimmy, where are you in your business between 0 and 10?
I would say a good 8.
Right, fantastic. So 8's a really good score. It's quite high up. So if you were looking at the rest of your life, where are you with your children?
I would say a good 7. I think we'll be better friends now that they're having a bit of a break from each other.
Yeah. So for anybody who's doing this alongside, if you think about the areas of your life and score it, so not being, and it's okay, I always score, and I say this, I'm no different. What you see is what you get with me, I'm afraid. When I score my family, not me, my family, my siblings, my family, my blood family, it scores a 3. Now, people might think that's really sad, you know, but we are disengaged from each other. So I keep it at a 3. So I keep an eye on my brother. I've got 3 brothers, 1 sister. I keep an eye on my brother and I make sure he's okay. But the majority of it, due to bereavement, etc., is just disengaged, and that's okay. So I keep it at a 3, but I keep an eye on it. Because when Jilly's talking about those negative influences in our lives that affect our mental well-being, you know, I do walk away, and that includes anybody who affects my well-being. Doesn't matter who it is. Okay, so if you were to think about your family, and that might be one section, it might be a 3 like mine is, and I keep it at a 3 and it's nice and, you know, it stays there. Or it could be brilliant, or especially in the situation we're in at the minute, you might be missing people that you've not seen for ages. And it might be that you're feeling quite isolated. So if you're scoring it around about a 4 or a 5, you know, what I would say then is, what do you need to do to get it up 1 increment? We're not talking about getting a 10. We're talking about getting 1 increment. So if you just spend time doing your scaling on each of the sections of your 8 segments of the wheel, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm going to open it up to everybody. Has anybody got one that's particularly low that they'd like to discuss? It's a dead safe environment here. It's not going to be shared with anybody.
To be fair, Becky, we are recording this. So do you want me to pause it at this point? Would that be helpful?
Solution, I'm telling you, you know, and the great thing is we can find it, and often a coach can find it with you, or a best friend can find it with you, or if you're, you know, happily married, your partner, your husband, your wife, whatever, can will help you to find those alternatives, those options available to you. So for Pam then, if we were to jump into the O of the options of the GROW model, when you go, right, it's scoring at the moment, is it a 3 or 4, Pam? Where are you putting yourself? A 4. Okay, you'll have to unmute yourself in a minute, because I want you to tell me what options have you got available to get you from a 4 to a 5. You knew that was coming, didn't you?
I did. It's okay. It's already in progress. I have written a draft case for support for my role and sent it to my manager, David, who will, because I'm not very good, because I'm so close to my job, I find it hard to measure my impact. So he sees it more clearly, so he's going to give me some constructive words. And I've already got a list of 3 funders that I'm going to go straight to. And then I also get funding through the projects.
Yeah.
So there are different options that are already in play. Reminding myself, because imposter syndrome hits around about now, is to say, no, I am doing a good job. I know I'm doing a good job, and I can continue doing a good job. And, you know, keeping myself in that space where I know that I need to do this. It's horrible having to say, with cap in hand to funders, to say, I'm really good at my job, please pay me. But it's the reality of the work that I do. And it's having people like yourself, Becky, Anna, Claire, and other people who will remind me of the impact that I've had. And yes, I do need to continue the work that I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So already you've put in some action in to get you from a 4 to a 5 easily anyway. Yeah, fantastic. So looking at a more personal slant then, Kimmy, have you got anything that is scoring quite low at the moment?
Yes. Slightly embarrassing, but it's exercise. So that is a 2. But I would genuinely like to start doing something that's not too difficult to start. So I think that would be really good. Something gentle. So yes, I definitely like to increase that this year.
Fabulous. So even if it was something that you could do in the next, obviously we've all got a busy day because it's International Women's Day, but if there was something you could do before the kids come home today, what would you do that could be exercise? Because quite often exercise could be dancing.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I could put my good tunes on I could go for a walk because I do love a walk. So maybe
Yeah.
just walk a bit fast and count that as exercise. I don't know. I could give that a go. Yeah, I'd not thought about that like type of exercise and thought like hockey or like don't know. You don't think about your own options, do you? Really? But yeah, nice to do.
Exactly. I mean, I love dancing. What's Pam put? YouTube,
Oh,
ABBA dance words.
ABBA
Yes.
dance. I feel like we're kindred spirits. I would be well up for that. Do you just put it on YouTube? Do you just type in?
Yes,
ABBA?
yeah. ABBA dance video. She does Disney as well, and The Greatest Showman. It's
Oh,
awesome.
that's brilliant.
And they're only 15 minutes. They are so much fun.
I think we should. I think we should timetable that in, Simone. Get Pam doing an exercise.
I'll have to definitely get that as a 2020 year 2, Pam. Maybe get it on the list.
Get signed up. Yeah, smash through that comfort zone. Summit button. Fantastic.
Brilliant.
So it's kind of like what's going to bring you up from a 2 to a 3. So 2 for exercise, and you think, do you know what? Where, as women, where am I going to fit this in?
Yeah.
You know, I've got a bike, I've got roller skates, I've not done any of it, but put some music on and I start dancing, the dogs start going mental. It's great fun, you know, just for 5 minutes and it is still exercise, you know.
Perfect. Yeah.
And they talk about habit, what do they call it, where they add a habit onto another one?
Habit stacking.
Habit stacking. So yeah, so I thought, well, do you know what, you can walk the dogs, but I can run to one of them posts and I'm going to walk to the next one. So actually it's a habit I do. I always walk the dogs anyway. So why don't I integrate something in that? Or when you're going to pick the kids up anyway, leg it to the schoolyard instead of, you know, or walk fastly, whichever way. Brilliant. Okay, so let me go back to this. We've got 10 minutes left. Let me go back to the wheel just to explain. So hold on, it's not come back, has it? Hold on 1 minute. There we are. The joys of technology. Okay, so the idea is then that if you are scoring, even if you're scoring quite high, a 6 or a 7, you know, and you want it to get even better, think about one action that's going to make that incremental change. So there's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he talks about these small little steps that make all the difference. So it might be, you know, what was said about avoiding people who are negative. It might be, do you know what? I'm going to walk to the school gates to pick my kids up, but I'm going to walk the long way round and do at least 20 minutes walk. It might be that you think, do you know what? I'm just going to put one of those ABBA videos on for 15 minutes and make a complete fool out of myself in front of the, you know, the front window so everyone can see me. It might just be that, you know, they used to say, didn't they, leave your running trainers by the front door so that you remind yourself to put them on, or get your gym kit available. Obviously, we're not gymming at the minute, so that, you know, you make that huge difference. So the idea is that whatever your score is around your wheel, so you put all your sections together, you score it between 0 and 10, and then you think what one action will make the biggest difference to you. Okay, so if it's things like, for example, I talk to people with, I do the one-to-one diet as well. So when people say, do you know what, I want to lose some weight, I go, right, okay, what can we change? What's the first thing we can change? And to me, it's not necessarily to do with the food. For me, it's about their well-being, how they feel about themselves. So it might be that they write these positive affirmations in the morning. It might be that actually one thing that they switch is stop having caffeine in the morning. I love my caffeine, but it could just be one incremental change. And then once you've got that, you've got 8 actions for the week ahead. So if you've got the Wheel of Life, or you can download it, you can Google it, it's all on there, and just think, do you know what? Sometimes we won't wake up, I don't know about you, but sometimes I can wake up and I think, what's up? I don't know what's up. Something's not right, you know? And actually by getting that Wheel of Life out, I can think, what area of my life do I need to focus on in order for me to feel better? So quite often, a lot of things to do with coaching, to do with mindfulness, to do with NLP, to do with counselling, anything like that, it all starts in the mind. So these tools that I've showed you today, are kind of like the diagnostic tools that I use that go, right, okay, what is it you need to do? What is it you want to do? Where are you now? Where's your reality? What options are available to you? And then this is where it gets serious. I go, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Because it's all to do with action. Okay. Has that been helpful, ladies? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great to have some tools that we can go away and use for ourselves, because I've just sent out the grow model that Becky provided. So you'll have that now as a bit of a resource. So every time you feel perhaps a bit stuck, or there's a challenge or something that you're thinking of trialing, it might be a good way to use that example that Becky's just showed us to figure some of that out. So thanks so much for sharing that.
You're welcome. And it's great for kids as well. If you've got children, you know, and they kind of like can't, they think, because they can feel trapped, they suffer from anxiety as well. And you think, do you know what are options? Or even if you're trying to do a timetable for your kids for the summer holidays that are coming up, you know, I hate to say that when you just sent them back, but you think, right, okay, what options have we got available? You know, and do it as a family. Quite often as mums, we feel, I'm not a mum, but they feel that they have to entertain, when really give them ownership for their time as well and what options they want to do. Thanks, Simone. I'll hand it back over to you, sweetie.
Yeah, great stuff. Thanks very much. Yeah, and obviously we, as part of International Women's Day today, wanted to highlight some of the amazing women who are working locally. So Becky's just one of them. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, Becky, what's the best way to contact you?
Yep, you can get in touch with me. I've got a Facebook page. So come and join me on there. I've got Westfield Black Belts. If you are struggling with boundaries in your business or life, it's a free group. Just come and join us. Yeah, LinkedIn, however you want. And on my Facebook page, you've got my phone number and everything on there. I'm really open. Just get in touch.
Get in touch.